You lose your job, so you update your resume. You get sick, so you take medicine. Your family is fighting, so you call a meeting. We are hardwired to respond to physical crises with physical solutions. But eventually, you hit an invisible wall. You do everything right on paper, yet the problems persist, the doors stay shut, and the solutions fail. That frustration comes from a misunderstanding of how our reality is actually built. The physical environment of Earth was never designed to be self-sustaining. It is structurally vulnerable, built to be entirely dependent on a higher spiritual dimension for its normal function. In fact, the physical world doesn't actually create anything. It operates strictly as an instrument of execution for decisions already finalized somewhere else. Trying to change your reality by only manipulating physical variables is like trying to cure a disease by exclusively fighting its symptoms. You can suppress the cough, but if you ignore the root infection, the illness always returns. To solve a persistent problem, you have to stop wasting your time at the execution level. You must step out of the physical realm and walk into the spiritual boardroom where the outcomes of your life are drafted and approved. There is a strict foundational rule governing this architecture, known as the law of territory. It states that you remain an illegal occupant in any jurisdiction until you are built out of the raw materials of that specific environment. This law creates a hard jurisdictional boundary. Pure spiritual forces, whether angels, demons, or God himself, cannot legally operate or directly interfere on Earth because they lack a physical vessel made from earthly elements. Humanity enters the picture here as the ultimate workaround. You are a being of duality. You possess a spirit that is completely compatible with the higher dimension, but it is housed inside a biological body constructed from the gust, water, and minerals of Earth. You are the only entity in existence with a dual passport. By design, you are uniquely authorized to interact with the spiritual realm, draw causal power from it, and channel those forces directly down into the physical world. The spiritual realm exists as a parallel warehouse of possibilities, housing every potential reality, including the specific events of your future, in a state of suspension. Historical events, sudden windfalls, and personal tragedies don't spontaneously generate on Earth. A discussion happens, a conclusion is reached in that higher dimension, and then the finished reality is simply transported into physical existence. But you can't just shout demands at this warehouse and expect a delivery. If you look at the Genesis account of creation, the spoken word alone is completely ineffective. There is a precise equation for creation. Speech only activates possibilities when it is backed by light, which represents deep spiritual illumination and the precise knowledge of how these laws work. If you lack that internal illumination, repeating positive affirmations or commanding changes in your life won't do anything. Without light, you are just generating empty acoustic noise in the physical realm. Because Earth is designed to respond to spiritual authority, staying ignorant of these laws creates a power vacuum. In this system, silence is legally treated as authorization. If you are not actively farming your own destiny, opposing forces act as rogue planters, sowing tragedies into your life that take root simply because you left the field unattended. If you do not actively participate using illumination and precise words, you don't stay neutral. You default to being the victim of spiritual decisions made without your consent. Every human possesses the inherent power to function as an active director, editing realities from the spiritual realm to override physical failures. This is where the concept of prayer has to be completely reframed. Strip away the religious guilt, the rote memorization, and the begging. Prayer is a highly specific technology designed to interface with the causal dimension. This technology allows you to partner with the Holy Spirit to search the archives of your destiny, the finished record of who you should become. Once those possibilities are identified, you can dispatch spiritual enforcers, or angels, to manipulate earthly variables and shift resources on your behalf. But there is a strict rule of engagement. You must control your words. Complaining about your circumstances or blaming others is a trap. The moment you vocalize blame, you legally transfer your authority away to the very forces trying to derail you. Every hour you spend agonizing over a crisis, strictly on physical terms, is an insult to your structural advantage. You are bringing a physical resume to a spiritual boardroom. True dominion, including the ability to compress time and recover years you thought were lost forever, becomes possible when you recognize your own architecture. It begins the exact moment you stop behaving like a physical victim and start legislating your life from the realm that actually controls it.